You will see on my right Mr. Prashan Holmes, the Honorary Secretary. Next to him is Joven, our Treasurer. On my left is Melvin Fernandez, the Vice President, South Goa. And we have Captain Harry Vegas, our EXCO member. And we have come today to address this press conference on the issue of Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026 that has been placed by this government on 25th March of this year in the Lok Sabha. It was introduced by the Union Minister of State, Mr. Nityanand Rai, on behalf of the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. It claims that the purpose of the bill is to tighten control over foreign funded NGOs, creating a designated authority to manage assets of non-profits that lose their licenses. But according to us, after a deep study of the bill, this is actually the bill that has been made in Lok Sabha. On perusal of the bill, we realize that this is a very draconian act committed by the central government, aimed at someone, but it is going to cover and damage the whole of Indian society. This is our fear. And कोंकणी भाषेन एक म्हणणी आहा, उंदराचे रागान घराक उजो घालप. So this is what is being attempted. They want to hurt someone, but the ultimate damages would be caused to the whole Indian society and the whole Indian nation as a whole. In 2013, as that election was approaching, Mr. Manmohan Singh had made one statement when Modi's name was promoted, that if Mr. Narendra Modi gets elected as the Prime Minister of India, it would be disastrous for the country. Now, I am recalling this statement because this whole bill is something that is going to cause a disaster for our Indian nation. Overall, the whole bill is an attack on the democracy. It's a frontal assault on the basic structure doctrine laid down by the Supreme Court on the Constitution. In the Keshav Nanda Bharti case, a very famous landmark case, wherein the Constitution was held as the foundation of this nation. And nobody, no government is allowed as per that judgment to even fiddle with this Constitution. But here, through this bill, there is an attempt being made to harm, knowingly or unknowingly, we don't know, but to harm the whole section, all the sections of society. This is the biggest fear. It appears as a non-application of mind, because I don't think any sane government will ever bring a bill of this nature. The narrow approach, as I pointed out, of this bill, the purpose which reads, says that foreign funds coming from abroad for charitable works, educational activities and community services need to be checked. This is the narrow approach of the whole bill. But it appears also to be aimed at the minority community, or as we call it, the minority bashing. It is aimed basically, though it is aimed at the minorities, you can say that it is basically aimed at the marginalized, poor, ignored, uncared section of society, which is 80% of the population, present population of India. And therefore, it is aimed at the majority of Indians. That is what we wish to state. But how we say that there is a bigger, larger fear is because it does not just cover the minorities, but it covers the trade unions. It covers all social organizations. It covers temple trusts. It covers newspapers and social media, the friends like you are here, and all influences. So basically, it is aimed at all critics of the government. Anybody who wishes to criticize the government would be brought under the ambit of this bill. So it is a direct violation of the fundamental rights under Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. So we will like to explain how it will affect all these sections. Like if you look at the trade unions today, every trade union, all the major trade unions are affiliated to the central federation, and these central federations are then affiliated to the to the international federation. If you take DMS, Bharati Mazdoor Sangh, you take AITUC, you take then you take INTUC. All these have links to International Workers Federation. And what these federations do, they send funds for training of trade union leaders. Now all these trainings will get affected because this will be considered as funds coming from abroad towards their organization. Similarly, political parties, if they receive funds, this will also be covered under this bill. So parties like RG, after this bill will have problems in receiving funds. Parties like AAP or any, including even in the BJP also receives a lot of funds from abroad, from their supporters. So the worst part in this whole bill is that the places of worship, in a 3 words of places of worship, they have covered up all the, not just some churches or mosques or other minority places of worship, but the majority also will come under it, including the Ram Mandir Trust. Today we have the Ayodhya Ram Mandir built in Ayodhya. Remember that Mandir also has received some 2,000 to 3,000 crores of rupees from abroad. So even these places will come under this same bill. Then we have you must be aware, we have Lions Club, we have Rotary Club, we have Indian clubs also like Samrat International, then we have Giants Welfare Foundation, which has become now international. We have Red Cross and the Blue Cross, which is United Nations agencies, where United Nations funds. And if you remember in the Bhuj earthquake or any disaster that India faces, these are the organizations which fund the aid that we provide to the affected people. So this fund, even which comes from United Nations, will be affected by this bill. So the whole thing, if you see that the attack is going at the minorities, but it is hitting the majority more than the minorities. That is what we want to point out. And that's why we don't understand how this government, especially Sri Narendra Modi, who is today looked upon by the international community as a world-class leader, I don't understand how he could have agreed to such a bill without application of mind. That's why we said this is an act of non-application of mind. See, you must remember, it is not only the small organizations which look up to the other foreign charitable organizations for funds to do the activities. Today, we have over 500 billion rupees received as debt by the Indian government from foreign funding agencies and the World Bank, IMF, for the growth of the country. Now, that is also foreign fund. If small organizations cannot receive foreign funds or need to be monitored, then who is going to monitor all this money coming from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund? If any nation has to grow, any citizen has to grow, any section of society has to grow, we are a poor nation, we are a developing nation. Historically, it is third parties from abroad who have sent money for the growth of our country, for the growth of different sections of society. Be they Christians, be they Muslims, be they Parsis, be they Sikhs. Today, coincidentally, I will show you one photograph. This is a langar shown today in one of the daily newspapers of Goa. This is a langar, is a event where free food is served in gurudwaras all over the world, wherever a gurudwara is there. Now, even this activity of a langar will be affected because of this bill, because the langars are supported by funds coming from their devotees from abroad also, not only from India. So these are the such activities that we are pointing out, which will affect all religious activities and all social organizations. I know of at least 2-3 schools in Goa whose school buses have been funded by Rotary International. Now Rotary International is funding it from their donors, from their members who try to observe that the government is trying to point out as if this money is all wrong and government itself is depending on such aid. See, this government after coming to power has also taken lot of support from us and from abroad for their electoral bonds. This government has taken money on electoral bonds, which the Supreme Court had to step in and get it cancelled. This government has taken money under the Prime Minister's Care Fund during the COVID, claiming that they need money to address the COVID calamity. I myself, when I was an employee of my company, I had to contribute 1 day's salary to the Prime Minister's Care Fund. So, when the Prime Minister himself is seeking help, there is every right for every other citizen to seek help. They can ensure that that money is not misused for any other thing. But to say that if there is some fault in the financing of this, receiving the fund or the running of that institute, that they will take over that institute from and clean it into their own hands and run it according to their, is not correct. To snatch it from the hands of this institution is not the right thing to do. And that is what we are protesting. We had initially sent a letter to the Home Minister protesting against it, against that bill. But now we have sent a letter to the President of India. We have emailed her yesterday demanding that this is actually a constitutional challenge. This is challenging the constitution because the basic doctrine, basic structure, doctrine of the Supreme Court is being challenged because they are hitting at the foundation of the growth of the nation. They are hitting at the foundation of the fundamental rights that are enshrined in the constitution and which is not called for. So we have told the President she should intervene because she is the head of the constitution, is the caretaker of the constitution. It is implied by the President that she should see that nobody touches the constitution, nobody tries to play foul with the constitution, and therefore we have appealed to her to intervene and get this bill withdrawn immediately. We want the President to intervene in this, considering that it is going to be a great harm to the nation. The aim would be to do minority bashing, but as we have pointed out, the majority of the people will be harmed. And who are the majority? It is the poor, it is the marginalized, it is the scheduled caste of this country, it is the scheduled tribes of this country, who today are over 80%, and the government itself is claiming that their one-day meal, which the Prime Minister is providing, is reaching out to this 80%. That means today India's 80% population is living below the poverty line. And when the world comes to provide some aid to these people, the marginalized, have every right to receive this aid, but they should receive it legally, and the government should ensure definitely that they should. But you cannot threaten that if tomorrow something is there and someone complains that I will take over the institution, I will take over the colleges, I will take over the universities, I will take over the hospitals. Will you take over the Ram Mandir Trust also if someone complains? This is a question. Because anybody can play foul, anybody can complain. In India, there is no, nobody can be taken to task if you lodge a false complaint also. Because you have to prove that the complaint is false. So tomorrow anybody can lodge a complaint against any organization, against any temple trust. So when you play mischief and foul, the government can take advantage of this mischief and foul and take it into that. See, we must remember, and even this government must remember, that they are not going to ever last in India, or they are going to continuously control the government machinery or rule over India. Every government has its day. It is ultimately a democracy. The people will continue with the government, or if the government causes any faults, the government will change it. Earlier, the government have changed the Congress government and brought the BJP to power. This democracy will permit the present population of India to change the BJP and bring someone else to power. If at all any other party comes to power, they will misuse this bill against that party also, against the BJP party also they can misuse. This foresight we request the government to have and see that it should not harm in the long run the whole growth of our nation, that is motherland India. One simple example if I give you today, US claims it is the mother of democracy, The president claims he is the president of presidents. But today they have withdrawn today's announcement. They have withdrawn and announced a ceasefire against Iran. What it indicates that the biggest of biggest leaders also someday have to climb down. Similar manner, even the Bharatiya Janata Party should think that one day their day also may come where they will be changed by this entire electorate of India, and therefore afterwards, whoever comes, they can misuse this bill. Therefore, we request the government, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and the President of India, please have the foresight to see what harm this bill can cause and stop it by withdrawing it before it is too late. Thank you.
Mr. Cyril, can you
tell me about this? Is this bill stop raising fund from foreign fund?
No, it says that when if you receive funds, then you come under the bill. Anyone. And that is the whole crux of the bill.
And what is the problem with that bill?
It is not about just NGOs or institutes. It is even media. It talks about media also.
No, let it
so, when you receive it, it means you are receiving funds from abroad. Understood? So, automatically it is implied that you become part of the government. If tomorrow you do something wrong and if there is a complaint against it, the government has created a machinery now called the designated authority. He will intervene and take over the body till the matter is settled. This is not correct. Understood? See, all our leaders, all of us, the contribution of the Christian Institute, only I will tell you, is so huge in education that today our governor, whom we have, the Honorable Gajapati Raju, is a product of our Christian Institute. I was recently reading his biodata, which he had sent for some organization. His primary education has happened in Andhra Pradesh in St. Joseph's Institute. Now you tell me, when this is our foundation, most of our ministers have grown up under Christian institutes. All our hospitals, the best of hospitals are run by Christian institutes. So we are not saying that we are doing something wrong, but if you find something wrong, you correct it. There is a provision to correct. But to take over that institute and say that, okay, we will run it now.
Is there any provision if we have misused you or our side, any organization misuse the fund, and is there any authority to take action?
Yes, that's designated authority is created here with full powers
without this bill.
No, there is a provision.
This is an amendment to the bill.
See what happens?
This bill is already there. It is an amendment.
I have
to the
worked with NGOs which have received funds from abroad. And what happens is you have to, they are either registered under the Societies Act, understood? And annual report we have to file. And the registrar of the societies checks your whole balance sheet, everything is checked by. If you find there is anything wrong, they ask for your explanation of that. And if there is explanation satisfactory, they give you renewal of the registration. Otherwise, they keep it on hold or reject it also. Now, and that is it. But it doesn't mean that we lose the rights over the institutes that we have built for the society. Here they are creating a platform now, they are creating a power where they will take over that institute, they will take over the universities, they will take over the hospitals. So that is uncalled for. This is not growth of a nation. This is regression in the name of growth. This is regression in the name of progress. You can't harm a society, and harm which society is the lowest of low, which take education, get empowerment, through this institute.
This only for the foreign funds or the local funds?
No, only for a foreign fund. And it doesn't say that the whole fund has to be total, okay? Suppose if you need, say, I need to provide a bus for a school, okay? And the budget is 15 lakhs. So if I provide 14 lakhs from local fund, and if I receive 1 lakh from abroad, the whole thing comes under, the whole 15 lakhs come under this bill, which is not the right way of approaching the issue.
Mr. Silk, can you read that text, that amendment? You have a problem.
Yeah,
what does it say?
I'll read you some sections which, as I pointed out, okay?
Yes.
Who are covered under this, okay? The key functionaries are governing bodies, managing committees, and controlling authorities of societies, trusts, trade unions or associations or individuals. Understood? In that, in clause H, and even political parties, which means an association of body of individual citizens of India registered with the Election Commission of India. Okay? Similarly, it talks about press and registration. Youth of press are covered in that. And then it talks of places of worship. In clause 7, clause 15:7, it talks of places of worship. So it doesn't say Christian place of worship or Muslim place or Guru, it's just places. So it talks even Hindu places of worship. And when they talk of foreign contribution received, it says received by such person, and the assets created out of the foreign contribution shall stand permanently vested in the designated authority under subsection 5. So you see, anything, even a bus today, if it is created as an asset out of 1 lakh foreign funds and 14 lakhs of local funds, that will be considered as funded by foreign contribution and will go into the hands of the government. So this is what we are trying to point out.
No, the taking of authority, that part you spoke about.
Yes, the designated authority.
So what is the text where it's
No,
amendment?
designated authority not explained who is the designated authority. The designated authority appointed by the government. So that is not explained.
So what
It
text?
only talks of that.
Can you,
That's
can you,
why in our Home Minister's letter also we had pointed out that there is no clarity on who is this designated authority.
So read the
See,
text,
here
please.
it is explained designated authority means such officer or authority as may be notified by the central government for the purpose of this act. So here nothing, no clarity is given of who will be the designated authority, what will be his position, will he be legal or just another executive officer. That is not very clearly explained. That will be appointed also, these clauses in such vague manner when they are, put in the bill, it allows lot of ground to misuse it. That is what is not correct in the whole bill. You can take over. Shall stand permanently vested in the designated authority.
So the designated authority will monitor the whole fund or the misuse of the fund.
No, whole fund. It will be, the authority will be, as per this bill, it appears, it will be to manage this bill, to address the issues of this bill. That will be everything covered.
So we will be taking the control of
All the
mismanagement or no mismanagement.
yes.
So this-
No, it will be, there's a
this
complaint
control
law.
where is mentioned in the bill?
See, if there is a complaint lodged, then when it is in investigating stage itself, we can also take charge of that and claim that I want to investigate. You understood? That clarity is not there. And there is no appeal provisions also to appeal or to serve notice. He will first take over and then investigate.
These are your assumptions or these are written on the bill?
It's written in the bill.
No, where is it written in the bill that it says it will take over the association? Because you are saying that it will take over the entire organization. So is there anything mentioned in the bill that it's going to take over? Or there will be, is this an investigating agency only? Like investigating
No, it is
officer?
the authority that will run that institute.
So where is it?
And they even say, but they say that though they will take over, they will not change the image of that. Like if we take over a place of worship, if we take over, they will not change the.
Is it mentioned,
Yes,
so
of
that
course
is
it
it
is.
mentioned that they will take over?
Yeah. And he has even powers to sell that immovable property which he has taken. See, in section 16(1), where the designated authority sells, so he is given powers to sell the immovable property vested in under this act. And he shall issue a receipt also, so that the transfer of property also happens to the new owner. So that much this one is. Yeah, there are provisions already existing to look after all this, whatever issues are there in any of this organization, any of the trust. There was no need for this, but there is some in the back of the mind there is some conspiracy happening aimed at somebody, but it is going to harm the larger, have a big social impact on India.
So what is the status of the bill now? It is still
It
in.
had kept on hold because there was opposition in the Lok Sabha, and therefore the bill has been kept on hold. Because the opposition has demanded that a special committee be formed to study this bill. So the government has kept the bill on hold.
Hold.
But we
It's
are
not yet
demanding.
passed.
No, it's not passed. It's not put to vote. We are demanding you withdraw it. It's not
Withdraw
required to be
completely.
kept, huh?
You are saying to withdraw completely.
Yeah, of course, it's not required. There is already existing machinery. That machinery is fair, is fine enough to do it. That's why so much money has been coming in now. Under this, there is a lot of money coming in.
What bill it is? What bill name it is?
This is Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026. See,
And the
it
previous
says-
act was?
it says- Pardon?
What was the
Yes,
previous
yes, amendment to the act.
Amendment.
The act is already there.
Act 2000?
2010 also it is there, 2000 earlier also there, 2020 also there have been smaller amendment, minor. Wherever government has been facing problems, in addressing this issue, they have made minor amendments and corrected it.
I'm saying what is the original act name? Name of the
Pardon?
original
Same
act.
Foreign Contribution Regulation Act.
Act.
FCR.
Anything?
No, but I'll just, definitely,
No,
I'll
something.
just read it out to you.
Yeah.
Provided that the person referred to in subsection 1, that is the designated authority, may make an application to the designated authority. When anybody, complainant, can make an application for return of any distinct and ascertainable portion of the asset created or acquired from other sources, and the designated authority being satisfied shall by an order return such portion of the asset to the applicant in such manner as in. So there is provision to return also, but then you have to prove that money is not been misused or whatever allegation that has come, you have to prove it. But that itself will take time. Now until that time, we lose what do you call it? Control over our organization. Anybody will lose. You can take a copy of this.
Yes.